All right, let's talk about one of the weirdest animals on the planet, the giant panda. Seriously, this animal is an evolutionary puzzle wrapped in a riddle. It's a bear that decided, nah, I'll be an herbivore. A carnivore that lives on grass. It's a survivor that, if you just look at the stats, shouldn't exist at all.
So let's just dive right in. The panda, at its very core, is a bear. It's in the order Carnivora, which means it has the guts of a meat eater. Short, simple, and built to process protein and fat, not plants.
And yet, what does it eat? Bamboo. Almost nothing but bamboo. A super high-fiber, really low-nutrition plant. It's kind of like trying to run a high-performance sports car on nothing but lawn clippings. You just look at it and think, how does that even work?
Oh, and if that wasn't weird enough, they are famously, almost comically, bad at reproducing. This isn't just some random quirk either. It's a direct result of their diet. There's just not enough energy to go around for, making more pandas. Even in zoos with perfect conditions, something like 80% of adult pandas don't successfully reproduce. It's wild. So that's the big question, right? How has this walking, breathing bundle of contradictions managed to stick around for millions of years when so many other, seemingly better species have just vanished? Well, let's unlock this puzzle together.
Okay, first things first. We have to lay out all the evidence. What exactly makes the panda such an evolutionary head-scratcher? I mean, it is basically a checklist of what not to do in evolution. Their carnivore gut can only pull out less than 20% of the nutrients from the bamboo they eat. That low-energy diet means super slow reproduction. And because they rely almost entirely on bamboo, if a forest dies off, the pandas are in big, big trouble. By all normal rules of evolution, these guys should be fossils.
So, how do they pull it off? Well, it all goes back to a massive, risky bet their ancestors made millions of years ago. Let's call it the bamboo gambit. And listen, this wasn't some recent change. We're talking 6 to 7 million years ago. The panda's ancestors made a huge choice. They switched to bamboo. Now, why on earth would they do that? Simple. Bamboo was everywhere, all year round, and guess what? Nobody else was eating it. They found a niche and made it completely their own.
And this is the guy who started it all, Eiluractos, the earliest known panda ancestor to take that gamble. We know from its teeth that it was already adapted for crushing tough plants like bamboo. So this whole weird diet thing, it's been part of the panda playbook from the very beginning. But, to eat bamboo all day, you gotta be able to hold it. And this is their secret weapon. The panda's famous thumb isn't a thumb at all. It's actually a modified wrist bone called the radial sesamoid. It evolved to work like a sixth finger, giving them just enough grip to hold a bamboo stalk steady while they eat. Pretty clever, right? And here's the proof right in the fossil record. You can see the false thumb from an ancient panda ancestor compared to a modern one. Look at that. It's already there, already enlarged millions of years ago. This wasn't some last-minute addition. This key adaptation was part of the plan right from the start of their bamboo journey. But here's a great question. Why didn't it get any longer? Why didn't it evolve into a true, flexible thumb over 6 million years? Well, this diagram shows the brilliant answer. It's a perfect evolutionary compromise. It has to be long enough to grip bamboo, but short enough that it doesn't get in the way when the panda walks on the flats of its paws. It's a clumsy solution for sure, but it works. Okay, so they figured out how to eat the bamboo. But what about surviving on it? That leads us to the next and maybe most important piece of the puzzle, what I like to call the Zen of survival. See, everything we think of as a panda being lazy is actually a masterclass in conserving energy. Moving slow? That saves calories. Sleeping a lot? Minimizes energy use. Being super chill and not aggressive? That avoids fights and competition. These aren't weaknesses. They're the winning strategy. The numbers here are just incredible. They spend up to 15 hours a day just eating. And since they can't get enough fat from bamboo, they can't even hibernate like other bears. Instead, they just hang out in tiny areas, perfectly balancing how little energy they take in with how little energy they use. It's the ultimate Zen of survival: do less, live more. Now, because they're so specialized, a lot of people have called the panda an evolutionary dead end. Basically, a species that painted itself into a corner it can't adapt its way out of. But is that really fair? The famous biologist Stephen Jay Gould used the panda's thumb to show that evolution is more of a tinkerer than some grand designer. It uses what's available and makes something that's clumsy, yeah, but workable. He saw this imperfection as proof of evolution itself. But does a clumsy solution mean it's a failed one? Well, just look at this map. For millions of years, the panda's clumsy strategy worked just fine. They thrived across a massive part of southern China. It was only in the last few hundred years that their home collapsed into these tiny, isolated pockets. So, what changed? And that's the real twist in this whole story. The panda's problem isn't bad biology. The panda's problem is us. Their strategy was a massive success for millions of years. It was only when human activity, deforestation, farming, development, completely shattered their environment that this incredibly specialized survivor suddenly became a symbol of fragility. And this really gets to the heart of it all. The panda forces us to rethink what survival of the fittest actually means. Being fit in an evolutionary sense doesn't mean being the strongest, or the fastest, or the smartest. It just means you are perfectly suited to your specific environment. And for millions of years, in a world of endless bamboo forests with practically no competition, the slow-moving, energy-saving panda was perfectly, absolutely fit. So you see, the panda isn't an evolutionary failure. It's a success story that we almost completely erased. It's a powerful reminder that survival isn't about perfection. It's about being good enough for the world you live in. So the real question this baffling bear leaves us with isn't how it survived, but in the world we're all creating now, what does it even mean to be fit anymore?